Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's a situation, a celebration. With the official king pain, bringing news to the nation. Crown family is live. Like and subscribe. It's a little what it shows. Every day we bring it live. The official king pain, yes, we in the house. Bringing you the news, north to west to south. Celebrity gossip, yo, it's a situation. Crown family, yes, it's a celebration. Oh, king pain, bringing you exactly what you need. Social media is fired up, we got the speed, yeah.
Because I be trying to spare you, bitch, because I activate. At the end of the day, we're not the only bitch coming into the house on no shit.
I'ma get you. I'ma get you.
I've driven tour buses, my own tour buses. So I know that it really takes either a wheel has to blow out, and we know a wheel didn't blow out, or a motherfucker got to fall asleep, second scenario, or it was by design. So those are our three scenarios. Now we know the tires didn't get blown out, so we're left with two scenarios. I absolutely do believe the driver, here's my theory, the driver was fucking tired. I saw the video of him standing by the stage, the driver was tired. So the driver should have been in the van resting. Then when it happened, it freaked me out because I had sent her other dates. I was thinking about coming out to Yoshi's and other days. So when it happened, all I could think about, when Juanita Wynn first called me when it happened, she's the first call I got. And then after that, I talked to Shayna. All I could do is think, damn, I'm supposed to have been there. Right?
It's a situation. Yeah. Ooh, a celebration. With the official king. Bringing news to the nation. What's going on? Like and subscribe. It's a situation.
Shout out to everybody here. Shout out to everybody watching. It's the official King Pain Show, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Stone Paxton. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, like I said a minute ago when that wasn't on, listen, if you made it to King Pain Show, I made it.
Mama, I made it. Okay, finally get to sit and talk with Stone Paxton. So before we get into the interview, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself? Who are you? Anything that you feel like we need to know about you to get a better understanding of who you are, because you kind of just got crash landed into the tea sector.
Yeah, which only tea I know is the tea I drink in my kitchen. So listen, my name is Stone Paxton, recording artist, producer, writer, arranger. Been in the music industry for 42 years. Former member of the Rick James Stone City Band. The list goes on. Produced and written and worked with some cool people. But most importantly, I ended up somehow in this sector because a friend of mine passed away, legendary Angie Stone, and I was speaking about her, and here I am, you guys, in the tea sector.
Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about your relationship with Angie Stone. You call her your sister, correct?
Yeah, Angie and I called each other brother and sister, but more importantly, she gave me a name, and that was Stony. She said, listen, it's going to be an inside joke. She said, I'm going to call you Stony, and you're going to call me Stony, and only you and I are going to know what that means, but other people are going to be wondering why we call each other that. So she called me Stony. I was like her brother. She was like my sister, and I will forever live with that in my heart. My brother and I handling a lot of her collections of her royalties, back pay, and money that have been taken from her, as well as setting up her residency for Las Vegas.
Absolutely. Did you guys ever create together? Any music?
No, you know what? we were in the process of talking about doing her album. That was a conversation we were having. She wanted to start working on her new album. My brother had talked about her new album and working on it and making sure that this new album was going to be something really big and Grammy nominated album. So the plans were in the works and the conversations were spoken about. But, of course, we unfortunately we didn't get to make it to that. So.
Absolutely. You said something about the collection of her royalties. Before she passed away, she made a few videos about Universal owing her money. Do you know anything about that?
She would talk to us in various meetings about her feelings about certain things that we knew was going on. She called me one morning and she said, I want you to check out my YouTube this evening, baby. And I said, okay, what's going on? I didn't know what she was doing. I said, well, what's going on? I didn't know why she wanted me. I thought maybe she was going to mention my name. She wanted me to see it. And I said, what's going on? She said, oh, just check it out and stuff. I'm going to talk about it. She said, I'm going to tell my truth. And I said, well, what are you going to do? She said, I'm going to talk about Universal, this person. I said, oh, no. Don't. I said, don't do that. I said, let me get my brother on the phone to get his opinion because I want her to have another opinion like mine. Got him on the phone. I said, tell him what you're talking about doing. And she told him, he said, no, we're in the middle of the business. We're in the middle of getting your money back. We're in the middle of this residency. Don't do anything to mess it up. But what I didn't know and he didn't know is that after we got off the phone call, she continued to, she did her truth. And I can't really be mad at that. Even though we didn't want her to do that, that was something she wanted to do and she was set on it. So, I mean, it is what it is. That was her truth. You know what I mean? So it's unfortunate, but yeah, man, that was her truth.
And you guys were supposed to be helping her get back some of her royalties, possibly do some shows and a residency here in Las Vegas. Yeah, we were already we'll put it like this here. We were actually already in the mix. Like every week, her royalties started to come back to her via paperwork, like certain stuff, right? But what we found out also within finding where her royalties were, we found out that people had been stealing from her, a lot of people. And we found out where the songs were. We found out who had taken her publishing. And then some of the stuff, phone calls that she had me on, people were trying to deny that they know anything where, they didn't know where it was or who had it. But personal phone calls with me on the phone with said people that she said had taken from her. At the beginning of the phone call started with them saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't take nothing. I didn't do nothing. And by the end of the phone call, the same person was saying, once y'all show me that you guys are representing her, then I'll give you everything you need to know. Then I'll tell you who has it. But at the beginning of the phone call, you were saying you didn't know where it was. So, and I had Diamond, I don't know if Diamond was there that day. I know Michael was on the phone call. Shayna was on that same call because I put her on the call to kind of diffuse a situation between her and this legally person. And they went at it for a minute. Then I was like, y'all done? Is there anything else you need to say? Then Shayna said what she had to say, the extra stuff. And that was the end of the phone call. But it was pretty much, I don't know. But like I said, by the end of the phone call, my brother and him going back and forth. And then even in the middle of the call, he said some stuff to us like this. I ain't got to give y'all shit. And we thought that was rather interesting that it was a defensive take. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like, we're all just trying to accomplish one thing, and that is get her money back and find out where it was. That was after she passed away, by the way, right? Because this person, I had been actually hitting this person up constantly. They kept telling me, oh, call me tomorrow or send me an email to my office and then I'll schedule a meeting with. I was like, bro, we just trying to find out. And we had to use meticulous words to get this person to respond because they weren't responding. So we had to say things like, oh, we just trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe you can help us, because we knew that this person was the same person that she said was stealing from her. And she was like, did he respond? Before she passed away, she sent me a message. She said, Stoney, did you get a response from his call or text? I said, no, like the first probably 4 times. And then finally one time he responded and said, oh, message my office. So I hit her. I said, yeah, he responded saying message the office, but I haven't had official conversation with him because he won't pick up the phone or give me an exact day and time that we all can have conference meetings. So after she passed, he contacted the son, Michael.
So Michael hit me up. Michael said, I got his new number. He said he called to try to say, you know, if you guys need me, I'm here and all that. I said, oh, shoot me his number. So he sent me his number, and I called my brother. My brother said, get him on the phone. We got him on the phone. We kind of cornered him. He didn't expect that call. And that was the day where we had that conversation about, well, she said that you took it. And he swore to God that he didn't. I didn't do nothing. I don't know what y'all talking about. That's what the stance was in the beginning. By the middle and the end, he was telling us, if you show me the paperwork that you guys are representing us, and then my brother says, we've sent you that paperwork 2 or 3 times. So what are you talking about if you show us? We are representing her. Oh, okay, because then I'll tell y'all exactly who. I ain't got it, but I'll tell you who got it. Well, that's what his word was. So we didn't believe it, because from the beginning we located the songs that he had put his name on. So once you do that, it's kind of like, bro, really?
He put his name on songs that he didn't write?
Yeah, his name was on the publishing of these particular records.
Wow.
A lot of them. So then but then when I asked him, I say, well, listen, I say, we found your name on a lot of publishing. His response to that was, oh, somebody set me up. Now, this is a legal lead, by the way. He said somebody setting him up. And we just listened. We let him talk. You know what I mean? Because we didn't want to stop him since he was talking, but somebody set me up. Whatever. Somebody setting you up, but yet that money is going to the person that said that shit. That none of it makes sense.
Probably had something to do with Angie Stone being set up, being that he didn't respond until after she passed away.
He definitely didn't respond until after she passed away. And the interesting part about it, when Angie brought us aboard, right, to handle this, the initial conversation, I remember the phone call when she was introducing me to this guy, and he didn't like me. Now, I could tell by the way he was talking on the phone. He was very short with his words. He was very quiet when all of us was boisterous, right? He was quiet, and, you know, he was just acting really funny. So he gets off the phone, and I say to her, I don't think that motherfucker like me. She said, nah, he cool. I said, nah, since that motherfucker don't like me. Either he don't like me or he don't want me around. So that's not normal to me. And I'm very transparent when I'm doing business with people. I said, why would he not want, you know, like me? It just seemed like he doesn't want me involved. I could hear it in his tone. About a day after that, there's some paperwork comes in my email, and I'm thinking it was from Angie. It was a non-disclosure agreement. And it had Angie's name on it. So I hit her. I said, yo, sis, I said, what's up with this non-disclosure agreement? But I looked at the email and it came from him. She said, I say, sis, a non-disclosure agreement? I said, what's that about? I mean, I know everything that's going on. We going out. She said, don't worry, baby, don't sign it. It was him. He was trying to keep us out. And probably because he was trying to stop us from finding anything out. So if we did a non-disclosure, it'll only limit us to be able to see certain things or talk about certain things. Because I think he knew we was going to find out, and he was trying to look out for himself. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I notice how you're not mentioning names or certain people's names. Is there a reason?
Well, in this business, here's why I don't mention names. And that was a big issue in the beginning of this whole Angie Stone thing. Like, I didn't think people were going to take, mention a name. He ain't mention no names. Like, what the fuck you going to do if I mention a name anyway? You going to jump up and go there and handle the motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so what difference did it make? As long as I'm giving you the story, why I got to mention a name? Even if now that people know the name, ain't no niggas and got up and ran down there off of YouTube and done shit. So it wasn't my job to mention names, but it surely was my job to mention the situation and my situation with her. Now, if I don't know a person, I'm particular. If I don't know a person like close up and personal, I might know them from other people. If I don't know them close up and personal, I'm careful about mentioning people's name in a derogatory way. Now, I can say driver, I can say helicopter driver, I can say bus driver, but when I start saying a person's name, in my mind, this is me, it has nothing to do with nobody else. In my mind, I am saying that I am convicting a person in my head because I'm saying this person's name. And if I don't have 100% proof, I can have my theory and my thoughts from all my experience of being in that circle. But if I don't know and I wasn't there, I got to be careful about saying I think this person did it. Now, I can give my theories on a theory of what I think, but I can't say, and I still won't give a person's name because it's still like me putting out there, because people would take, and I could say the name, and people say, oh, Stone Paxton said Jimmy Buffett did this. And I never even said the nigga's name like that. So I know that the internet, you got to be careful with what you say. So I chose not to even say the name to keep me from, because I wouldn't want nobody to do that shit to me. If I was driving a car and there was 10 people in there and I was a driver and I knew people that knew me and I'm like, that nigga out there talking like he know me. I'm going to be kind of bothered with that, even though they have a right to place their opinion. But if they ain't never met me and really been close to me, even though they know my people, I'm still going to be kind of like, that dude don't even know me. But he's speaking on me like he know me. I had to look at it that way, right? And let the evidence present itself. And then let people come up with the conclusion. Because truthfully, any of y'all on YouTube, y'all niggas ain't going to get up and do nothing. None of y'all. Y'all ain't going to do nothing because y'all ain't done nothing to date on this Angie Stone stuff but talk.
Right.
So because I didn't mention the name, y'all was all wired up and flipped out about it. Guess what? Y'all still ain't done shit. So make that one make sense, as they say.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you feel like there is some foul play and possibly the driver is at fault.
There is, listen, this is what I'm going to say. There is something that definitely doesn't make sense. Because I've driven those same vans. I've owned Sprinters. I know how they're top heavy. I know that if you're driving them and you turn too hard, the motherfucker's going to flip. I know all about them. I've driven tour buses, my own tour buses. So I know that it really takes either a wheel has to blow out, and we know a wheel didn't blow out, or a motherfucker got to fall asleep, second scenario, or it was by design. So those are our three scenarios. Now we know the tires didn't get blown out, so we're left with two scenarios. So we got to piece that motherfucker together. I'm in between those two scenarios. Some ain't making sense. But for somebody to flip a van, they got to be really fucking good at that. Mm-hmm. So I'm leaning more towards maybe a motherfucker fell asleep. Now, was it by purpose? Of course you don't fall asleep on purpose. But could you pretend to fall asleep? Yeah, just so everybody watching. But who puts themselves in harm's way to flip a Sprinter and hoping they survive? So that's why I don't think that it was purposely by design. But then some of the other stuff that I know about the recall situations with the van and other stuff, it did make me rather curious as to like, well, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? That was really strange. But here I am, back to the scenario, who puts themselves in harm's way to flip a van, hoping, now you got to realize, hoping that they live. That's a big risk. That's more than a 50-50. You know, you look probably looking at a 60-40 or maybe even 80-20 chance of dying. Everybody in that van got lucky. Because if you go back and look at it, it should have been more people that should have passed in that van.
If you think about it,
you feel me?
That's also what makes it, rather suspicious that Angie Stone is the only one
that passed away. It's strange. It's strange, and I've tossed with the thing over and over again. And there's a lot of information I know, and I'll say that to you too. There's a lot of stuff I have that I haven't spoken about. It is you guys, since you're investigators of YouTube, to go and be an investigator. I know what I know. I've shared what I need to share with the detective. For all those that, why don't Stone? I've shared what I needed to share with the detectives. But since there's people on here that want to be detectives, then be a detective. Be a forensic investigator and properly investigate so you can get the answer for yourself. Don't sway on Stone to give you no answers. I gave you all the answers you needed to have that I knew. Now all the other shit that I'm trying to figure out like you're trying to figure out, it's up to you. Piece that shit together yourself.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, the driver of the Sprinter van should have never been driving. You were supposed to be in the Sprinter that day.
I told Angie I was going to come to the first 3 shows. And this is where Jaguar Wright took my words and she like made it like I was a liar. So I purposely planted certain stuff in her ear. But I told her I was coming. I felt bad because I didn't want to get on the airplane and fly because at that time a lot of planes were, and they're still doing the crazy crashing shit. But then I said, how do I tell Angie that I don't want to get on the plane? Because I knew what she was going to say to me. If I'd have said, Stoney, I'm worried about the flight. God, baby, put it in Jesus' hand. God got you. I knew she was going to say, come on. She would say, pray and come on, right? Mm-hmm. I already knew that's what she was going to say. So I prolonged it until the last minute, until I called her and said, I got a client. I'm not going to be able to make it, but I'm going to catch up on the East Coast, the show in Baltimore, right? Then when it happened, it freaked me out because I had sent her other dates. I was thinking about coming out to Yoshi's and other days. So when it happened, all I could think about, when Juanita Wynn first called me when it happened, she's the first call I got. And then after that, I talked to Shayna. All I could do is think, damn, I'm supposed to have been there. But here's my thinking, King Payne. I'm one of them ones. Like if I'm rolling with you, you say, Stone, go out on the road. I'm going to say to you, Payne, listen, I'm with you, but I'm going to rest in the van while y'all performing. Because that's what a driver's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be there kicking in and partying and say, I might stand there for a minute, but I'm going to say, I'm going to go in the van and rest. Because I got to drive y'all. Mm-hmm. The driver should have been resting. Period. Not only that, if I was there, I would have been like this. You awake, man? You woke? You woke? Right. Hey, man, you wake? Hey, your eyes drifting. That's what I do when I ride with people. I'd rather drive. So let me drive, man. Pull over. I know if I was there, I would have offered to drive. I would have said, and I thought about that because I know me. Anybody that knows me will tell you, Stone gonna drive. I would have said, let me drive, especially that long of a distance. I said, let me drive. You know what I mean? Unless I'm just really tired. But even if I'm tired, you can ask Meech. When Meech was driving to Cali, we was going through the mountains. I was looking at Meech. He said, Stoney, I got you scared. And then Meech say, don't worry, I drive with the left feet and the right feet. I'm good. And he said, it made me feel good when I saw you go to sleep. I knew you trusted me. I don't ever trust nobody when it comes to driving. Mm-hmm. Because as an artist, you put your life in people's hands after these shows. So I felt like if I was there, for sure, if I didn't drive the whole time, I would have done half of the driving, at least the first part of the driving. I would have, and I would have been watching the driver.
Again, it sounds like it's some sort of driver negligence. Maybe he was partying too much.
I absolutely do believe the driver. Here's my theory: the driver was fucking tired. I saw the video of him standing by the stage. The driver was tired. So the driver should have been in the van resting. That's what you do when you're driving an artist. You got to get your rest so that you can drive people. You can't drink. I saw the driver holding something. I don't know if could have been cranberry.
I thought they left the show and went back to a hotel and rested for a few hours before getting on the road. Isn't that what the story was on the news? But you said that the story changed a lot from the time.
Listen, story changed so much. I told how it happened that morning. I told the call that I got, all that extra, like all this extra stories that were added. I don't know if people were doing it for YouTube or what, because those aren't the stories that, and you got to remember when an accident happens, you're getting everything right that moment. Yeah. You're getting the real truth.
Unfiltered.
Right. The first 40, that's why the police say they can't solve something the first 48 hours is not going to get solved. Mm-hmm. I was hearing stuff the first 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours it happened. It was fresh, right from the hospital. I was on the phone with Shayna. I was on the phone with Juanita. But Shayna was at the hospital, so I was on the phone with her. I was listening to her talking to the police, I was getting all the
inconsistencies from the phone call to the news. What changed?
Well, what I noticed that they never talked about is when I talked to Shayna that morning, she was telling me the thing that caught me was the guns. Right? And she's like, oh, yeah, the police found guns in the car. I was like, what? And she's like, 3. I was like, in the Sprinter. So I was like, why would they have guns? I didn't get too deep into asking her why, but I was like, they had guns. And I was like, cool. But I was trying to get an answer and didn't quite get the answer I wanted because she was more focused on being upset with the driver for some reason because he brought his girl to the hospital to pick him up. And she was so set on that conversation. So I'm still asking, and I'm crying, and I'm asking questions about, I said, so 3 guns? She said, yeah, 3 guns and then 3 guns and then 2, right? Let me see. She said there's 3 guns. She said the police gave her 2 guns back. And so in my head, I said 2 guns back. She said, yeah, I'm taking them out to the car now. Now I could hear her talking to the detectives and stuff. And I was thinking I think I said to her, oh, they let you take the guns to the car? She's like, yeah, I got to take them out to the car. My thing is, if there's an active investigation going on, why would you even get back? Why would you give back the guns anyway? I thought that was strange and weird.
Why would they not give the guns back to the owners? Like what? They just gave you other people. Obviously, she doesn't know who the guns belong to.
She said she even said that detectives, I think detectives said,
and why would they
do you have a gun? Yeah.
They kept one.
They kept one. Yeah, they kept some phones too, right?
Oh.
Yeah, they kept the driver's phone, and I think they kept somebody else's phone, another person's phone too. I don't know. They might have kept a few more phones, but I know 2 for sure. She said the police asked her, detective asked her, do you have a gun too? And she's like, why, should I have one? And that's when he told her, well, there's 3 guns in the car. He said, it's good to have a gun. But what I'm saying is, I told this detective in Alabama, I said, he didn't even know. I thought it was weird. It's supposed to be an open case, but the detective I talked to didn't know about the 3 guns. So I said, it was just strange. And when I said it to him and he didn't know, I was like, I don't even need to fucking talk to this man no more. I really felt like, how come this dude don't really know shit, right? And he was asking me, oh, this and that. And I was like, bro, that's your job. You got to go. I said, sir, you got to go do your job. It's not my job to bring you information. It's your job to go find out, So I thought that was strange. So I stopped talking to that detective when he said a few things that I found to be rather just strange. I just kind of backed up off him. I never messaged him or called him again. It was just kind of weird, man. But I know an active investigation, you got 3 guns, that's held. They're going to keep that for a long time. That's 3 guns in the car. Didn't matter if it wasn't used or not, they're going to keep it. Why did they give 2 back? That's been in my head for the longest.
Where did the driver come from anyway? Who hired him? Like, doesn't Angie's son typically drive? I know it was his birthday.
I don't know if he drives the Sprinters. They used to have a designated driver that would drive, and it wasn't particularly that company. But I know the driver had been around Angie for a while. You know what I mean? So Angie knew who he was. He had been around, you know what I mean? My people in the circle say he had been there. He had been around her for a long time, assisting in various different things. So he wasn't the regular person that would drive, though, for sure. He wasn't the regular one that had been driving her for years. No, not at all.
But it's someone that Angie trusted?
I think she trusted him to a certain degree, enough to drive at least. But from what I'm told from the circle, there was an argument before the accident happened. That's what I was told from the circle. Inside of our circle, there was an argument before the accident happened. Now, I don't know if that's true. So allegedly, they said there was an argument, and right before the accident happened, he was told to slow down. Yeah. Now, my people in my circle told me that. That's allegedly what they told me. That came from people being in the van.
So he was speeding. He wasn't sleeping. He was speeding. He was driving reckless. My. Oh, it's a whole lot of dusty shit going on. Leave it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
To the official Kingpin to bring some clarity to a dusty situation. Definitely leaning towards driver negligence. Wow. So let's talk about the call again. What was the initial call like?
What was the feeling of it?
The feeling. What was the words like? What time was it? Describe that moment for us.
My time, I think it was 2 in the morning. Was it 1? 1 in the morning? I got it all in my phone. I think like 1 in the morning. It's on that phone right there. If I had, I'd be able to give you exact time. Maybe 12 or 1 in the morning. And it was nerve-wracking. I actually didn't believe it. Like I when Juanita called me, oh man. Yeah, man. Sorry. Sometimes I have a hard time talking about this. It was crazy. Yeah, it was. But anyway, sorry. Every time I think about the moment, it's like reliving that morning. When Juanita when she called me, she couldn't even talk. She was really distraught. She couldn't talk to me. It was so bad. She actually hung up on me, and she didn't do it intentionally. She just had a hard time talking to me, and she couldn't finish her conversation. Nothing. And then after that, and I was kind of upset. She's probably gonna hear this for the first time. I was upset because I needed answers, at that moment, because she gave me so much in a short period of time, and I was like, whoa, and boom, she's gone. And she wasn't ready to talk about it because she was grieving like crazy. So Shayna called. I talked to Shayna, and she was pretty normal, which fucked me up because I'm like crying uncontrollably. And she was normal. Like, she was just normal. Just like nothing had happened. And she had me on speaker. She said, you're on speaker. I said, I don't give a fuck. Because I guess everybody heard me screaming and crying. I didn't really care. And she said, I'm here in the hospital. And I said, tell me it's not true. And she said, yes, it's true. And she said, the stories are not making sense. See, this shit is so vivid to my head, every word, because I wrote it all down and I read it over and over again. But it was such a profound moment that I will never forget everything that was said. She said it's kind of weird because all the stories in the van people are mixing the stories. One person saying this, one person saying they was holding her. One person said they was trying to pull her out the van. This other person said, no, I was the one that was sitting there holding her, trying to get her out of the van. She said nothing makes sense. Then she said they all just stopped talking. I was like, and then she told me later on that day that she drove back out to the site. Now I was trying to figure out why she drove back out to the site. I was like, she said, yeah, I'm taking somebody that was in the Sprinter. She didn't say who it was. We're going back out to the site. Well, I was just wondering why go back out to the site? What for? You know what I'm saying? Why?
Mom said I need to do something with my hair, otherwise I gotta get it all cut off.
We booked an appointment at Style Kings at the barbershop. Let's go.
Do you want fabulous hair? Are you looking for a product strong enough to tame your 4C hair?
Hey, Mom! Hey, Mom, you don't have no more leave-in conditioner?
Give me that. I know you did not use my Style King leave-in conditioner.
Are you looking to knock the dust off them dreads? For a product that will rejuvenate and strengthen your hair, increase hair growth and shine, and smells great? Well, then you're in the right place. For the long, beautiful, healthy hair you deserve, choose Style King. Perfect on all hair types. Available online at theofficialkingpain.net. Get you some style today. Oh, and your mom called said she needs some more conditioner.